Hi, vinyl community, it's Maria. I'm doing the Northern Revolutions contest, the Get to Know You contest, where I show 3 albums that are like the soundtrack of my life. And I start out by shouting out a channel. I'm going to shout out Robert Fithen. His channel, first of all, he's very knowledgeable, he's funny, but he also puts so much work into his videos, so much thought, so much planning, and he's getting like 300 or 400 views on videos that he worked so hard on. Check out he did a recent Easter egg video of the Beatles, and he had all these Easter eggs for you to find, and people were taking part and even finding Easter eggs that he hadn't even intended. So it was fun. I'm going to put a link to that in the description because I taught myself how to do that last night. And I'm going to put several links in the description, but definitely Robert Fithen, his Beatles Easter egg video. The best though, and how I discovered him, was when he was doing a review for Herb Alpert whipped cream album. And he did it while covered in whipped cream, emulating or dressed up like the woman, he was covered in whipped cream, looking like the woman on the cover of the album, and gave a great album review. And what I loved about it, at the end, he did a nipple reveal, scathing social commentary on what nipples are acceptable to be shown in public. So I'm going to put a link to both of those videos. So check out Robert Fithen. He works really hard on those videos. So let's get him more than 400 views, 300 views for a video that he worked hours on. So the 3 albums that soundtrack of my life meant a lot to me. The first is Sting's first solo album, came out in 1985. Now I had this album when it came out on cassette, and at one point I had it on 3 formats. The cassette, I don't know where it went. I recently found this, and even more recently got it on vinyl, and I loved it back in the day. And so it's Sting's first solo album, 1985, and he says this isn't a solo album. All these people helped me, Branford Marsalis, Eddie Grant played the congas, and it's poppy. It's like little world music. Some of my favorite songs are, Love is the Seventh Wave is very fun. The video's great. I might link that in the description if I get around to it. And A Fortress Around Your Heart, I loved. But what I didn't realize till I was reading the liner notes for this video, and I think that I didn't read the liner notes when I got it because it was on cassette, and it's reading liner notes is better when it's big. But here is, he has these, I didn't know it opened. So he has pictures of himself, but then he also includes the pictures of the musicians who played with him. And what I learned, what I was going to say from the liner notes, the song The Russians, which was about, it came out in 85, so it's about the Cold War fears and stuff. He credits, well, he used, and I can't even, maybe it's right there, several measures of a tune from Prokofiev. And that I've listened to that song a million times and loved it. Never knew that was from Prokofiev until I read the liner notes. And it's only because I have it on vinyl, because unfolding all the little cassette liner notes, more than likely I didn't do it in 85. The reason I love it, in addition to the fact that it's a gorgeous album, it can be jazzy, Moon Over Bourbon Street. It's Love is the Seventh Wave would be like, world music, I guess. It's so good. But the reason I'm showing it came out during a time in my life where I made the best decision of my youth. I decided to leave the high school that was, on an access road by the interstate, to transfer to the high school in my neighborhood. That was just wonderful. Best, we've got a landline. Best decision I made. And so basically 8th grade, this came out. This I really associated with my wonderful 8th grade year. Went to 9th grade, horrible high school, got bullied, made the decision to transfer. And when I transferred, life got so much better. And it corresponded with this album coming out. It was in my Walkman. I remember gym class, I someone mentioned the album, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I've got the cassette. I was listening to it last night, and one of my new friends at the high school said, oh, I heard Sting last night, I was at his show. So she was telling us about the concert. So it's just really good memories of just a really nice 10th grade year. I would graduate from that high school, and lovely. I still walk over there. It was designed by one of the premier architects in Atlanta. I think it opened in 1930, and it's on the historical register. So quite a change from going to a very expensive high school that was on the access road of an interstate. So I'm going chronologically in these. The next one is, so this is Nirvana when they were on MTV Unplugged. It was a semi-acoustic show. And so the record came out in, well, so they recorded it in, oh God, it was like November of 93. The record came out in November of 94. For some reason, down here it says 91. The disc says 94. And but the reason it's so important, well, this is really important to me because my nephew gave it to me. He's 22 now, and my brother was telling me that several years back he was getting into 90s music, and so he was like, hey, didn't Aunt Maria, wasn't she at Nirvana's last show ever? Which I was living in Germany. I had bought in 91 when Nevermind came out. I had bought that, and I liked it. I wasn't some huge fan, but when I saw Nirvana, it was their last show ever. It was March of 94, and I had been living in Munich at that point for almost 14 months, and I was very homesick. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the Nirvana show, and it just happened to be the last show ever. And so I think about that music. I think about being so homesick in Munich. I didn't know any Americans, and the only time I heard English spoken was either as a second language or by someone from England. So I was homesick, and so yeah. So when my nephew gave this to me a couple of Christmases ago, I really was just so happy to get it. I actually didn't see the MTV Unplugged till a few years ago, and now I have it on DVD. And I will watch it. I think I watched it last week. It's really good. And I also got to see Pat Smear was that final tour with Nirvana. So I got to see him play, incredible guitarist. And so yeah, just great time in my life going to hear that American band Nirvana. And Kurt canceled the rest of the shows after that one, and 5 weeks later he was gone. So I was very lucky to have seen them. And so the next record, Off. This is 2014. It's the second album by Off. Keith Morris, Dimitri Coates, Stephen McDonald, Mario Rubalcaba. I found out that on this tour, there's I found that I put this in Creative Loafing when the album came out. So apparently Dale Crover toured as the drummer on this tour, and I'm gonna show this. Just, I don't even know if this is still good, but so anyway, but the reason, and the cover art, Raymond Pettibon, beautiful. Raymond Pettibon did this art, and according to the book, I don't think Keith Morris really talks to Greg Ginn anymore, but his brother Raymond Pettibon, I guess they're still tight enough for him to do the art for his book and for his albums. The reason it's important to me was so I stopped buying vinyl in the 90s and just did CDs, and even in the 90s when I did buy vinyl, it was used. I got some good stuff because people weren't buying that, but I wasn't buying new stuff. And so in 2014, when this came out, this was the first new, like, current new vinyl. And it felt great. it took me another, 5 or 6 years before I really got back into getting vinyl, and which I guess y'all know I'm going a little overboard with at the moment, but or I have been in the past. I'm trying to practice self-control, but so I I loved, there was a time when I would come home if I was stressed from work, and I would put, I mean, it's like, oh God, 16 tracks and very short songs. Check out, and I'll put a link to this in the description. There's a video that Off did with Jack Black for Time to Meet Your God and Over Our Heads. There's a bear, there's blood, there's jumping out of airplanes. I'm going to link that in the description because I taught myself how to do it. Um, and what I'm really excited about, so like all of these songs are great. Death Trip on the Party Train, I Won't Be a Casualty. I just listen to them and it really helps me with my stress. But what I'm really excited about, I saw Keith Morris with Circle Jerks at Punk Rock Bowling, and I think next month I'm going to see Keith Morris with Circle Jerks again. They had to reschedule the show because Keith got COVID, but I think he's feeling better and is going to be finishing that tour. I think it's next month I'm going. So I think if Off toured, I definitely would go. And so yeah, that was really exciting for me to actually take a plunge back into buying vinyl, and it's worked out. And I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to watch Robert Fithen, link in the description, and Northern Revolutions. It was a fun contest. Be sure you see them. Bye.